What's the thinking here exactly?
Well, Rich, the rationale behind it is to basically limit competition for jobs as the U.S. reopens its economy. The president did give some details to the scope of the 60-day suspension and would only apply to individuals seeking permanent residency. So those with valid visas or transit documents will be exempt. So will medical professionals and researchers, armed services, or those seeking asylum. Not sure, though, whether these restrictions would apply beyond green card holders. Still, this is going to affect thousands of would-be immigrants looking to permanently move to the U.S. and, of course, further delay the green card process as well. This, as we see U.S. cases, as you mentioned, slowing down nationwide, rising just around 3%. To give you some context, that's just below the average over the past week or so. Total cases still amount to 835,000 in the country. New York, the epicenter, saw the fewest deaths in a day since early April, and the governor, Andrew Cuomo, there saying downstate New York now on the descent of the curve. He's now working with neighboring states like Connecticut and New Jersey to build a tracing army to track the virus's spread, and California also coming up with a similar strategy.
And Yvonne, in the early days of the coronavirus outbreak, Singapore's government was really praised for its effective response. There seems to be a reversal with virus cases there now crossing the 10,000 mark. So what is the government doing about this surge in cases, especially among migrant workers?
That's right. And we've heard from the trade minister speaking to Haslinda earlier saying they're hoping to progressively open the economy in a month's time, but they still have to deal with this new headache here, which is these migrant workers living in these tightly housed dormitories, often 10 people per room. They share a kitchen area as well as bathrooms. So the government now looking for new ways to house these foreign workers as they deal with this crisis. And it's probably why we have seen the cases rise tenfold in the past month. We saw a third straight day of 1,000 or more new infections in Singapore. Earlier this week, the government did begin halting the movements of migrant workers into and out of their dormitories. They converted a lot of these military camps, vacant public housings into interim housing facilities for those who are healthy. So they already have moved some of those essential workers as well to other areas. We're looking at other parts of Asia as well. Over in Japan, we did also reach a grim milestone. The number of virus cases has now topped 11,000 and also overtaking South Korea's numbers as well. And that's despite Japan seeing a limited amount of testing as well. So that makes it harder to see the real scope of the infections right now. The country is under a state of emergency, but local governments have received hundreds of complaints about some businesses that have failed to close, particularly those pachinko parlors. And keep in mind, Japan is getting closer to Golden Week as well. That starts from late April to early May. This is a time where a lot of people go out and travel. And unlike other countries, Japan hasn't introduced fines for leaving homes unnecessarily at the moment. So there is this concern now that there's going to be a wave of tourists from urban areas that could rapidly worsen the situation, particularly in regions where most of the elderly live.